Hey fellow Star Watchers, Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Oxygen Not Included Volcanea, Episode 38, Observatory. Alright, that's probably enough blast shot for now. If I need more, I'll get hit in the face by some. I'm also going to stop doing iron, because it looks like the coolant needs to chill a bit. And steel. Slow down on that. So I've got 5.6 tons. So here, industrial product of blast shot. And here we go. I can always break that down if we end up with a transit tube. Okay, oxygen coming through is cool. These are still awaiting delivery. So I'm going to raise those up to 9 so we can actually get the jet suits in there and get them oxygenated. What do you mean, why the trim of the breeze catcher? Oh, why the haircut? Because I wanted it. Easiest answer ever. So we have a dedicated 2K line. This is a dedicated unused 2K line. So whatever we have up there, like a telescope or a space scanner, we have dedicated lines for that. Looks like the conveyor rail's coming together. And now, the auto sweeper is sweeping the blast shot up and sticking it into the conveyor loader. It doesn't have anywhere to go just yet, because this line doesn't dump anywhere. But yeah, there we go. Oh, and the suits are getting mightily oxygenated. So we have 2 fully oxygenated suits, and the others are getting there. Sweet. What am I missing? I think that's a pretty good start, at least, for the space race. So, the next step. The next step would be... One thing I don't understand, or I don't know about yet, is whether the blast shot needs scanners or not. Let me check in the wiki. So... blast shot. So that's one thing that I would say that the game doesn't do a really good job of, is it doesn't, like, explain the requirements of certain things. So Meteor Blaster. Meteor Blaster is a rocketry building. It aims towards meteors that enter its area and fires blast shot at them to destroy them before impact, therefore preventing buildings exposed to space from suffering impact-related damage. It requires sunlight, similar to a telescope. Blast shot can be delivered through conveyor rails. You can cool it with conduction panels. It doesn't mention whether or not it requires a scanner. But, like, regardless, I'm probably going to want a scanner. So, next order of business, now that we have the jet suits up and ready, is to get ourselves a tunnel to space. The likelihood of a meteorite coming straight down in a too wide tunnel to impact us is very low. So I'm not worried about that. This is the first spacewalk using our jet suits. Now what I'm probably going to want to do is to have a ladder so that we don't have to rely on... Oh, you're getting buried. So we don't have to rely on getting petroleum as much. Actually, I don't really care about sweeping at this point. Hello, space. Oh. Sweep up an egg. So first spacewalk just got done. I'm gonna do an obsidian ladder. So then the next thing I probably want to do is to get a blast shot and get blast shot up and running with a scanner and eventually a telescope. So if I put blast shot, let's say here. Actually, I'm gonna put it here. So I'm putting it here because the regolith and granite won't collapse on it. And then when I want to start shooting things, I can just dig it out, and get fire in. So then the thing I'll probably end up doing. Where is the space scanner? Yeah. So I can put a space scanner here next to it, where I can scan and shoot, and then probably a telescope on the other side. The thing about a telescope, though, you can't... I might want a telescope connected to the jet suit dock as a bypass, so that someone can just, like, walk to it. I kind of forget if telescopes are used in suits or not. Because alternatively, I could have a jet suit checkpoint to take off your jet suit as you enter the telescope, but I don't think that would... I don't think that's ideal. It's been so long since I've bothered with telescoping. Trying to think of any other buildings that I've since forgot about, which I'll need. So this thing here, I am going to use steel wires coming to it. And then this meteor blaster, I should probably make that out of steel too. I'm just going to assume. In fact, no, I think the insulated tiles underneath it are fine, because they shouldn't be getting hit by strikes. If they get hit by strikes, I've done something terribly, terribly wrong. So telescope. Do you use... Man, I forget. Let's see if the wiki can help me out. Telescopes. I gotta look it up. And the wiki didn't have a clear answer. Well, I'll just build it. We'll figure it out. Whee! Oh, you're getting iron, aren't you? So one of the issues that you'll face with duplicants when you finally get to space is they will continually grab, like, space-refined metals. I guess with the blast shot now, that's less of an issue, but it's still an issue until you've cleaned up all the refined metals from space, because they're all technically valid to be fetched, but it leaves your duplicants rather exposed. Can they be killed by meteors? Yes, but I think it takes more than one strike. They're not, they're hardy. In other words. Come on, get delivering. Alright, these duplicates, I think, are just swooping up refined metals. So I'm going to set this thing to a 6. So that it's lower priority and therefore not something they continue to do over and over and over like crazy. It needs to be above a 5 because it needs to be higher than the general stockpile. You know, I could actually do the general stockpile as a 1. And then I can have the other stockpiles be like a 2. That way they're not high priority hauling to it. So now this thing can be like a 2 or 3. Something much lower. This just has to be higher than the regular one. Alright, that'll work. Because I want them building, I don't want them sweeping. And they're still sweeping. Cool. So here's the meteor blaster. This thing needs to be delivered with blast shot. So the conveyor rail will change over to steel at this point. Just because anything in space should be made of steel for both temperature and impact tolerance. And then the other thing I probably going to want to do is to use, and I have not used one of these before, which is the, where is it? The cooler thingy. I'll find it. The cool plate, which is the new meta for chilling things down in space. Should be in here, right? No? Why would it be in utilities? Let me look at my research tree. That would answer my question. Oh, it's in pipes? Okay, plumbing. Conduction panel. Where you run liquids through... So, like, putting a conduction panel here to cool down the blast shot. So that also means that I'm going to want a coolant loop. So much like the coolant loop I have over here, I'm going to want a coolant loop using probably petroleum over here as well. So, I am going to set that up. Pretty much the same way. Stick a reservoir in there, fill it with petroleum, or partially fill it with petroleum, and then chill the petroleum, and then start to loop it through the space objects that need cooling. But so far, so good. Let me check up on magma. So this hasn't been breached yet. That's what to look for. When that breaches, it will be a little chaos, I think. Hopefully managed chaos. We will see. Oh god, look at them all getting sunburned. Collecting all that iron. Does anyone know of an effective way to stop them from collecting iron other than, like, priorities and whatnot? Oh, you know, I could do... yeah, I know how. This will be sweep only. and then not allowing iron to be anywhere else, so they won't keep collecting iron. Although that doesn't exactly help, because running the metal refinery, if I don't have refined metal for the steel, they're still going to go up to space to fetch refined iron. So it stops them from sweeping it up, but doesn't necessarily stop them from fetching it for steel refinement. But I mean, it's half the solution. You just send them in atmosuits so they can't fetch any iron? Yeah, that's one way to do it. It's not the way I'm gonna be. I'm not breaking down their jet suits for that purpose. There we go, conveyor rails. Thank you. It's about time. Okay, here comes the blast shot. Delivered via the auto sweeper and conveyor system. I don't have it powered on just yet, because I'm going to want to build the coolant loop first. So, let's do a liquid shutoff valve made of iron, because I don't want it to melt. And this can be ugly, because I'm just filling it once. I'm putting coolant in here for cooling space stuff. Suppose it doesn't hurt to get a space scanner in here as well. Maybe not one made of lead, though. Hey, Bach. Thank you for the sub. Okay. That was weird. My space scanner was oddly invisible. So the space scanner, I'm going to need to dig out a considerable swath of this, but the idea is that once the blast shot is ready to go, I can dig up all this regolith and mafic to give it a really good line of sight on everything, and the meteor blaster should be able to shoot down anything that would threaten it or add to this pile. At least that's the hope. Another thing that could probably be done is to hook up the space scanner to the meteor blaster, so that the space scanner turns on the meteor blaster, so that the meteor blaster doesn't have to be on all the time. Because I'm imagining when it's on all the time, it creates a ton of heat and draws a lot of power, and that might not be good for our power grid or coolant. So sends a green signal when it detects incoming things from space. So probably I could just do that. So when it detects meteors, it turns on the blaster. Blaster turns on, blasts things, and then turns back off. I could be wrong, but I think that will work. The other thing we're going to want to set up is the telescope. And maybe I'll try to set that up here somewhere. Like that. I was pretty sure I had an automation wire set up in there, but apparently not. So I'm setting all of this up so that it's not exposed to space until I'm ready to hit the trigger. The other thing I'm probably going to want to do is to set up conduction panels for... I don't know if the telescope needs a conduction panel. The reason I say that is because typically telescopes are like oxygen fed, so it becomes the heat of whatever oxygen you're pumping through it. And for that matter, I don't think space scanners need it either. So one thing I am missing in this is the feed... Well, okay. This pipe was for... Okay, so I'm going to need to change some of the pipes here, and it's going to get a little messy. So this pipe is for steam. And the pipe for the coolant loop is going to be insulated, because obviously I'm not going to want uninsulated coolant looping. That's going to be very destructive. Alright, is that enough coolant? Let's top it up. It's going to be a longer loop. And that also means that I need to make more petroleum, because the petroleum tanks are dry. Alright, that will be the end of the petroleum loop. So, snip here. Destroy everything down. So it's 230 kilogram or 2,300 kilograms of petroleum for the loop. Well, we'll see if it's enough. I think it should be okay. So in that case, maybe I'll get a little bit more tungsten. So that I can have some tungsten radiant pipes for it. But I'll start doing the insulation for it. So the insulation for this probably gonna be a little messy because I'm gonna have to break into the biome underneath. Whoop! Didn't mean to do that. That's pretty much all the igneous that we have. But this is, if there was ever a good use case for igneous, it'd be this. The petroleum pipe is connected to the water pipe now? Oh, it is. That's awkward. Just, like, randomly merged? Well, not randomly. I know why it merged. So I wanted like an 8 long section. I have no idea what is the correct amount. We'll do 9 long section of tungsten there. Whether that's enough cooling or not, I have no idea. What I'm working on? It's actually in a box right up there. You can see current priority in blue and white. Makes it easy, doesn't it? So, I probably want to have like a sort of a feedback loop for the coolant, so that it can cycle. No, because it might just end up breaking the pipes. I don't know. So I'll just have it go. I think probably the way to do this is the heated line coming back will cool and go back into intake, and then I'm gonna need more igneous. So let's get some of that. Kicals are really dropping. I'll go back to fertilizing. I turned off the farm station because I wanted all hands on deck in order to work on the space project, but not at the cost of starving. Oh! We had a perfectly vertical strike. Well, in that case, what I could do is set up some temporary bunker tile here, which should keep us from experiencing perfectly vertical strikes. It broke my ladders. Not a big deal, they're just made of obsidian. Nothing that needed to not get broken broke. But I'll wall this up so that it doesn't happen twice, because it adds more work fatigue, having to repair things. Alright, dem's the loop. I'm just waiting for these to get built. So this is the cold stuff. And this is the hot stuff. It also keeps the dupes inside, true. There's that benefit. Because I didn't want them out wandering and hit by strikes or anything like that, so we have them contained. That's actually not a lot of eggs. That's weird. I'm getting critter starvation even though I don't think that this is my Dreco. I guess it's tame, but I don't know how a tame one got out. No idea. None whatsoever. The other thing I probably want to do is to set up a valve so that I can control whether or not it's circulating. So let's do that as well. Have a liquid shut off as part of this system. I don't know why I would want to shut it off, but like if I ever do, it's helpful to just be able to flick a switch. Yeah, critters can't self-tame, and I definitely didn't release it there. So, like I said, I have no idea how it got out or whatever, because this door's been closed this whole time. It's a mystery I don't really care to solve. It's just weird. Eggs can self-tame? Yeah, I think that might have been it. But we weren't incubating it, we weren't hugging the incubator. But, whatever. Alright, thank you, Badger. That's probably enough. Back to doing the tungsten. Alright, that's done. We're finally getting the insulated piping going. Because that's one of the major concerns is as things work, like auto sweepers or miner bots or meteor blasters or whatever it might be, while they work in space, they generate heat, but because space is a vacuum, there's nowhere for the heat to go, so slowly they start to overheat itself. So getting those little conduction panels is a godsend, because it used to be really annoying to try to control heat for space. Back when I played last, it was a headache. You would have to like dip things in liquid, like have liquid coolant, and yeah, it was bad. It was unfun. Now it seems much better. Yeah, it used to be really bad, and conduction panels made it a lot better. Yeah. Yeah, I remember I used to have, you know, to try to keep... The old meta of trying to keep space clean was really annoying, because you would have space scanners, and you needed, like, at least 2 space scanners to scan space in order to detect the meteor strikes in time, and then you would have to close all of your bunker doors all at once, which was an insane amount of power all at once to close a bunch of bunker doors, and all the bunker doors required an insane amount of steel. And then the bunker doors would close, and you get strikes, and then when the bunker doors open back up, it would spill all the regolith from the strikes kind of everywhere, and it'd be a mess, so then you would need to auto-mine it with auto-miners, but then auto-miners would cook themselves, and then you would need to clean up for the auto-miners, probably, with auto-sweepers and conveyor belts, and they would cook themselves, so then you had to deal with the situation of, like, keeping your auto-miners and auto-sweepers cooled, and that was, like, kind of another set of challenges, and it was just like, why? This is so overly complicated and rather unnecessary. And the conduction panels just kind of solved all of it all at once. Because it's like, yeah, liquid cooling? Because, duh? Dead Squall, thank you for the resub. Okay, we almost have the cooling loop going. Like how these are water Water weeds growing in the vacuum of space. Hardy crop. You know, I got some plants on my windowsill and they're dying, and I water them and they get sunlight. And here, these things are in no atmosphere, in the vacuum of space. And they're still growing. Like you do. This is unreachable? Yes, it is. Good call. Good catch. The tardigrade of plants? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Alright, not too much left to be able to help that little meteor blaster. The other thing I realized is, so Fangface, you are going to be a rocket pilot, I think. Yeah. Does everybody have exosuit wearing? Okay. Oh yeah, everyone does. Just making sure. So we're still waiting on the meteor blaster loop. I guess the Pokeshell molt I can punch into lime. Might as well. Hey, back road runner. Working on that 2-year? Oh man, you sure are. How's the roads been treating you? Uptick of crazy drivers that don't know how to drive, full of road rage, and just that's my guess. Okay, coolant loop is going. So I have the liquid shutoff on. So we'll see how that that there works. So this thing right now is about the same temperature as the coolant loop, so this is not going to help much. But I just want to see that the temperature moves at all. Yeah, I mean it's moving by tiny bits, but it's moving. Because again, the coolant and the thing itself is the same temperature. Now, as I leave this petroleum to loop around, it will cool because the hydrogen is much colder than the coolant. So now if you take a look at the temperature of this hydrogen, or this petroleum in the pipe, it went down to negative 14C. I'm actually going to have to keep an eye on it because, you know, it freezes at, its freezing point is negative 57. I have this set to negative 40, so it shouldn't ever get that cold. But clearly, now this coolant is coming back up, and it's going to be way colder. So the coolant loop is working. Let's then make our telescope. So what is it on this line? 360 watts? Okay, yeah, I can put the telescope on that line too. So the telescope saying it has no line of sight. That's fine. That is known. Still getting it all set up. Because then once I think it's ready, what I'll do is I'll remove these bunker tiles, mine everything that is in the way, turn everything on, and see how it runs. And then after we get the telescope running a little bit, we can start working on the rockets. So current priority is build a telescope. And Fangface, I will give you piloting and navigation. Because you're going to need it. Might as well give it to you now. Alright, this mining blaster has like dropped 20 degrees or so. Or a meteor blaster rather. So yeah, it's obviously working. Coolant loop is doing its thing. The petroleum, of course, or the hydrogen rather, in this chamber is warming up. Because it's having to absorb the heat. Oh, it already has ammo? Thank you for tuning in to Oxygen Not Included Volcanea, which originally streamed live on Twitch, July 27th. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below, but please keep in mind that this series has since ended, so changes cannot be made at this time. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com or the description of this video have a link to Twitch, and also my schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my gaming community on Discord, it has a link there too. Thank you so very much for watching, and a special thank you to my Patreon patrons, Twitch subscribers, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. Hope to catch you on next episode or an upcoming stream of another game. Farewell, my fellow duplicants.